Have any of you ever been asked what you want to do with your life? Or what is your dream job? For me, I've heard many of these questions, and I've always found it difficult to answer them. Because how do I sum up my whole identity, all of my dreams, or all of my aspirations for people who I've never even met before? For me, it seems kind of strange to have to sum up what I want to be, what I currently am, for people who I've never met. But the thing is, right now in society, what's happening is that we often are encouraged to commit to a path as soon as possible. I don't know if you've heard about this, but for me, I've often heard that there are only 3 accessible career paths: doctors, lawyers, and engineers. I don't know about you, but I think this is quite ridiculous, right? Because why would you want to limit yourself to doing something already the moment you step into high school? For many people, this is quite reasonable, because the sooner you commit to a career path, the better. Because the more you can do to prepare for it, the more competitions you can win, the more activities you can join. This phenomenon is actually quite common. People call it winning at the starting line. And while it does seem rather preposterous to start so early, to do so much just to have a chance at winning in life, I think it's better that we shape our own journey. Which is why I'm here today to tell you all why I think it's better that we plant our own paths in life and we carve out what we want to do, free from the expectations and from the restraints of society. Let me tell you about me firstly. I know this is rather self-absorbed, but there's a reason why I'm saying all of these. Because when I started in high school in year 10, I was asked what I wanted to do. I frankly had no idea. I had said quite vaguely, I want to go into the humanities, but that was a big lie because I had no idea what I wanted. One moment, I'm thinking about doing engineering. Another moment, I'm thinking about going to journalism. But I just said very half-heartedly, I want to be a lawyer. Little did I know, my answer actually brought on tons upon tons of career planning sessions, people asking me what I've already done. And imagine my surprise when someone told me that starting in year 10 was already quite late. It turns out that the earlier you start, the better. The more achievement you get, the better. The more courses you do, awards you win, the better, because that all ensures success. Naturally, I was quite panicked after hearing that I was starting late. So I, of course, joined every single course I could, every competition, every club, until my friends started to joke that I was more of a ghost than a person because I was always tired and never there. The thing is, trying to force ourselves to fit into a conventional path of success might be good as a motivator, but it brings us so much stress because we start to feel like we do not measure up to the ideal of society that we want to. And that actually makes us feel less motivated to achieve what we actually want. In trying to fit into the conventional mold of success, we actually lose ourselves. The thing is, it's not just society doing this. When we reinforce over and over again our dreams of doing a certain thing or achieving a certain career path, we actually begin to limit ourselves and our own potential. Because through neuro-linguistic programming of telling ourselves constantly that this is the only thing we can do, that this is the only way to achieve success, we actually close our minds to any other avenues that we've never considered before, any other opportunities or any dreams that we might have never unlocked. In doing so, we actually block our potential for growth, which is quite unfortunate. We're always changing. For me, physically, not so much because I haven't grown in 2 years, but we are constantly changing in terms of our personalities, in terms of our interests, in terms of what we want from life, in terms of our beliefs. So it's important to constantly allow ourselves on an upwards trajectory for growth. And this is only made possible if we still continue to keep our minds open. Whether we're 10, 20, 30, 50, we can always change. And when we limit ourselves to only believing we can do a certain thing, that's impossible. Furthermore, these beliefs of having only one journey we can go on can actually cause us to set overly high expectations for ourselves. We tell ourselves that we have to achieve this or that this is the only way out of our current situation in life, which causes us to set so many unreasonable goals. For me, when I started my IGCSEs, I told myself I'm going to get all nines, I'm going to get full marks at every single subject I do. Frankly, ridiculous. And then every time I did an exam and I didn't measure up to my ideal of getting every paper completely correct, I felt so disappointed in myself. I started procrastinating, the dangerous P word. The thing is, right? When we set ourselves these goals, we often inevitably get disappointed when they're too high. And what does this disappointment bring? Not only does it make us even more stressed, even more worried, it also causes us to continue on a toxic cycle of procrastination, because the more you fail at meeting these overly high goals, the more you want to stop doing them and the less motivation you have. This means that we'll often end up avoiding our task. This looks like me this morning trying to plan this TED Talk instead of studying for my physics exam an hour ago because I just didn't want to do it. What is my point here? My point is, it's important to set ourselves goals that we can reach and to avoid limiting ourselves too much. Because when we limit ourselves, we are actually telling ourselves that we cannot do it. So what should we do instead? Well, obviously, we should keep an open mind to what we want and what we want to achieve for ourselves and in our lives. But what's also important is simply giving ourselves time to rest. In a society where people keep rushing, trying to push through, trying to win in life as early as possible, it's important to take some time for ourselves. Especially during exams, especially during stressful periods in your life, it's important to take moments to simply let yourself breathe and reevaluate what you want and how you're going to get it. This looks like taking time to reflect. This looks like enjoying activities that you like doing to reduce the stress in your life. And I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to make myself feel better about procrastinating. I'm saying this because there are actual benefits. Because it allows our stress levels to decrease. It gives our brain space to actually absorb and consolidate the information you've been bombarding yourself with. And it also actually helps to improve the levels of activity in our brains. I'm not qualified to talk about this because this is a very psychological manner, but in fact, sports actually help our brains to absorb more information to maintain activity. I'm saying this even as I hate sports, but it's important because we need to allow our brains time to rest, to grow, and experience activities other than sitting at a desk for 10 hours a day. So what's my whole point in this whole speech? Firstly, that we need to carve out our own paths in life instead of conforming to the paths that society has laid out for us. Secondly, we need to open our minds to actually discovering ourselves instead of limiting ourselves to things we have already established as truth or things that we've established as the biggest thing in our lives, like having to get into this career or having to attain these grades. Lastly, it's important to simply allow ourselves time to be ourselves, to discover what we want, and to take a break from the messy, mundane daily lives. Instead of pulling ourselves taut like bowstrings all along, we need to allow ourselves time to unwind and to allow ourselves time to grow and to rediscover our passions for life. Because when we limit ourselves to a single path, we don't know what other turns life has left for us. Thank you.